Hey guys, welcome back. This is my fiberglass time-lapse video. Before we jump to the fiberglassing, I want to cover a little bit of the material. So this is a 4-ounce cloth that I'm using all the way around. And then I'm using the Total Boat that you can see up here, epoxy and resin. It's a 5-to-1. It's I guess a gallon. And I'm using the slow hardener. The slow hardener, I think it's about 8 hours to really start hardening it up. It gets tacky pretty quick, but you can still move the fabric around and kind of pull it tight and keep adding it and getting the kinks and where stuff is binding up and pinching together to get that nice and smooth surface that you want. The only other thing I would recommend, or maybe it's two more things, if you can on the cloth, try to get cloth that's big enough to fit one sheet on your wall. Otherwise, I don't know if you can see it, I have a seam coming down here. I'm gonna have to go, do extra work to get these seams out, and it's a bit of a pain in the butt when you got cloth, kind of overlapping cloth, and keeping it tight and where it doesn't bind up or one pulls to the side or anything like that. So if you can, do it in one single sheet, but it's not terrible if you have to overlap your cloth a little bit. On the corners, I wanted to cover that a little bit. This is my first time fiberglassing, so take what I'm providing you as it is. So on these corners, I would take the cloth and come over about 1 inch and then fiberglass that down when I was doing one wall. And then I would sand that down, and then I'd come back from the other direction and when I did the next wall the next day or several days away, and then I'd do it on the other side, so about 1 inch. So I'm pinching the cloth and having 2 layers, and I would sand it down again to try to get it flat. Obviously I'm taking material away when I sand, but I'm trying to keep it nice and clean, and you don't have seams and everywhere. So one of the things I did do is after it's all hardened up, I went and applied a little bit more resin on some of the areas where I had a bit of a texture. You can kind of see the cloth under it. There's kind of like a checkered pattern. You can see it in certain areas. I'm still going to go back, maybe apply a little bit more resin on everything, and then try to sand it down and get a nice, clean, smooth surface as much as possible. Last piece. This is a 5-to-1. Take that 5-to-1 serious. Don't try to rush it, and if you do mix it wrong, you might want to throw it out. I tried to utilize when I added just a teeny bit too much hardener. I was like, well, it'll just harden a little bit faster. I'm going to still work with it. It ended up kind of, the bowl I was using got really, really hot. It started hardening super fast, kind of turned into like a sludge, like a molasses type material. And it was hard wiping it through the material. It wouldn't soak into the fabric. It wouldn't soak into the cloth. It was just kind of sitting on top of it. You can see in a section on my wall back there on the other side, there's just a thick 1 foot section that goes straight down where you can see where it started hardening faster. It's not going to cause me any issues, but I'm going to, it's a little bit thicker in that area. So I'm going to have to do a little extra sanding anyway. My point is, if you overmix it, you mix it wrong, whatever. I know it's kind of expensive. Toss it. It's just toss it. It's not worth the time and labor, at least in my opinion. My time's a little bit more valuable than the $20 I lost in that mix. Anyway, you get the point. I'm going to jump to the time lapse, and you guys can see me in turbo speed. Thank you.